at the time is 8:52. When his young daughter was afflicted by seizures, Tony DiTerlizzi devised a fairy tale to comfort her and came up with a bestseller called The Spiderwick Chronicles.
3 years on and his story has been made into a hit film. He's about to release a new book, The Search for WondLa. We'll ask him more about that in just a moment, and his work for the Starlight charity. First though, let's have a look at the film.
Where are you? Why can't I see you?
You don't see us, now you do. But only if we want you to.
We? You mean all the magical creatures Arthur Spiderwick wrote about?
Ah! The book! Oh my God, I'm sorry, Master, I failed. Failed! Your instructions were simple. Protect the book! And I did it, I hid it. I bound it and I wound it. I did my best, locked it in the chest. But you looked and found the book. And from the chest the thing was gone! You foolish boy! Idiot! Are you blind? I put a note right on the cover. Can't you read? Why do I write notes if no one's gonna read the notes?
Here, more honey.
No, I'm not falling for that. Oh, that is so good.
And they say I've got anger issues.
And Tony's here now. Good morning.
Good morning. That's how I look when I need my coffee.
Yeah, we were saying that this morning, weren't we? We all feel a bit like this.
When you saw the film version of your stories, because obviously you come up with these stories.
Yes. Yeah.
They're in the book.
Yeah.
Was that, how close was that to how you kind of saw it in your own head?
It's a strange trip, really, honestly, because I mean, I kind of had ideas for what would become the Spiderwick Chronicles when I was probably about 12 years old, and I was playing like Dungeons and Dragons and watching the movies of the day and stuff. So to walk on set and see just the army of people that are building the houses, the house, you know, Spiderwick house, and the actors, you know, Freddie Highmore, Sarah Bolger, and it was a strange feeling. In some ways, more envisioned than the illustrations that I did, and in other ways, just dead on. Just
How did you start the writing?
For the Spiderwick Chronicles, I had this idea of a man who was very inspired by Arthur Rackham, actually, who used to live around here. He was a turn-of-the-century children's book illustrator, and I loved the fairy tales that he illustrated, and at the same time I loved science and like John James Audubon, and so I kind of mixed the two. I wondered what it would be like if there was a man of science who could see into the fairy world and the goblins and trolls and things that we love since childhood. And so I started to develop this about year 2000 or so, and my good friend Holly Black helped me, you know, pen the stories, and together we kind of off we went.
It's a wonderful idea of having sort of a kind of scientific look at the other world, if you like. So, do you believe in fairies?
I believe in energy and spirit. You know, I mean, maybe like that nature has there's a spirit to it, and I think that as humans, we tend to embody them as little people and stuff. So that's kind of how it sits with me.
You know, that's the kind of answer that really wouldn't satisfy a child.
No, not at all.
They'd say, well, does that mean you believe in it or not?
Yeah, I know.
What does that mean?
You're copping out, DiTerlizzi, come on. Give us a real answer. I mean, they're very much alive through folklore and fairy tales that is far older than I am. So...
Tell us about your new book, which I started reading last night. Got to the bit where the little girl escapes from effectively a mechanized world, which is governed by robots.
That's right.
And discovers what?
Yeah, and discovers I'm not on Earth. I thought I was supposed to be on Earth. The Search for WondLa is a story about a 12-year-old girl named Evan 9, and she's raised underground, as you mentioned, in this mechanized world, and raised by a robot. And she thinks she's on Earth, and she comes to the surface of the planet and realizes it's a completely alien planet. And it was inspired by a lot of classics that I loved as a kid, stories like Peter Pan and Wendy, or Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, or even The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. All those stories kind of focus on a young heroine leaving home and going into like a fantasy world. And then in doing that journey through the fantasy world, they kind of start to understand what home and a family is. And then they kind of take that knowledge and return home. So I wondered, as the Spiderwick Chronicles were kind of wrapping up, could I do kind of a story like that, but maybe make it a little more 21st century with tech and robots and stuff?
Yeah.
So. And that whole thing of storytelling, that is what you love, isn't it? And I know the charity work you're involved in is all about taking kind of storytelling directly.
Starlight Storytellers. It's a fantastic initiative.
How does it work?
It's with, in conjunction with Starlight here in the UK, and Simon & Schuster in UK. And what they're doing is they're encouraging and inviting authors like myself to come into hospitals and read and do events for children. Now, a lot of times when I'm on book tour, like I am right now here throughout England and stuff, you go to schools and you do, you know, you talk about books and the kids get to go, or you'll go to a local bookstore and you get to do it for families and stuff. But my daughter Sophia suffered from what are called febrile seizures at a very young age. And we spent a lot of time in the hospital, and it was, you know, there were playrooms, there were friendly staff, but it was boring.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot of distraction, and I was very anxious. My wife was anxious. I think that came through to our daughter, and which in turn made her anxious. So what I thought afterwards was, it'd be kind of neat to just do these book events that I would normally do at a school. Let's just do them in a hospital. Yeah. And do it for those kids. And some of those kids are there permanently. Some of them just are there for extended periods of time. And the Starlight organization already does a lot of great things to kind of alleviate pain or distract from pain and anxiety for both the kids and the families. And so I think this is just another great way to do that sort of thing. I mean, I think if I was in a hospital, that's what I want. I want to read. Yes. Reading helps me.
It's such an adult environment, a hospital. For a child to be there, you really need to use their sense of wonder to get out, don't you?
I think so. I think if it's engaging the imagination and the brain, I think it kind of helps. Yeah.
And also that whole thing, children love being read to, don't they?
Yes.
They do.
Always.
It's just
However
one of those
old
things.
they are.
I still love being read to.
Do you? Who reads to you? I'll read to you. I love reading stories. Lovely of you to come in.
Thanks for having me.
Nice to see you. Thank you very much. Tony's new book, The Search for WondLa. WondLa's the lead character, I'm assuming.
Eva 9. WondLa is the thing she's searching for.
Oh, she's searching for.
Yes, yes. It's her happy thing. It's her happy place.
Search for WondLa.
We're all looking for a happy place.
Yeah, we want one.
It's nearly 9 o'clock.